I think most people know Adobe. Whenever we meet with customers, they're like, oh, I love Acrobat, or I love the Creative Suite. And that's really the DNA of Adobe, is creating these great digital experiences. What most people don't realize, and we're trying to change that through a big presence here in Advertising Week, is that Adobe spent $2.5 billion to really get into the marketing side of the equation. So not only creating these great digital experiences, but helping marketers take advantage of those digital experiences and create the greatest return for marketers. And by putting those two stacks together, we've really created a unique value proposition for both publishers and marketers. And that's what we're really here to talk about. And specifically as it relates to Advertising Week, we've had some big announcements around AdLens, which is our media optimization platform. And there's been a lot of talk about big data lately, and I think our announcement really talks about how we're using all of the wonderful data that is in Site Catalyst to use that to optimize media across different channels, search, display, and social, to provide the greatest effect for our marketing partners, and also just not to optimize to conversion, but also inform that path to conversion and attribute value to those prior interactions and how they ultimately contribute to a conversion. So that's what we're really talking a lot about this week at Advertising Week.
Could you explain sort of the value that would be for an agency to use these tools?
Sure, well, a couple of values. I think one is that right now there's been such fragmentation out there. So agencies could have multiple platforms that do search optimization for them, multiple platforms that are doing display and programmatic buying, multiple platforms that are doing social or video. And I think what we've done at Adobe is put this all together in one platform so that you're able to optimize across each one of these channels and use data as a common currency to really understand how they're interacting together and what's working and what's not working, and then to optimize in real time.
Tell us about the video stuff. And I know you've been ramping up again, moving beyond just being the provider of the Flash ecosystem to really being a services company with the ad network, Auditude, this Primetime. You know, tell us sort of about Adobe's position in the video ecosystem, moving beyond simply being the software provider.
Yeah, well, I think Adobe, really, if you think about bringing video online and video experiences, that's where Adobe started with Flash and really brought to life those experiences. And as we can see right now through smartphones and tablets, the whole idea of bringing those broadcast-like experiences and bringing those online through multiple platforms and multiple devices is really what we're trying to do, and feel like we're uniquely positioned to do that. And we've had this huge inflection point that just happened with the Olympics, where we were fortunate enough to work with both NBC and the BBC to power those digital experiences through mobile devices. And what really was a breakthrough this past Olympics is consumption. So users were consuming video in huge amounts in real time for events all across the world. And the stat that's out there that really blew my mind is 40% of the people at the BBC consumed the content through digital devices. So we think that tipping point of broadcast-like experiences coming from the quote-unquote offline world to the online world is going to accelerate by events like the Olympics, like the World Cup, and other things like that. And we aim to be there to help power those experiences.
And what about on the monetization side? Tell us about how you're helping publishers monetize and sort of that aspect of Primetime and how it links into brand advertising. And
yeah, well, if you think about user consumption really driving the industry, and the fact that there's so much video consumption out there, you've got to monetize that. But if it's on a smartphone or it's on a tablet, it's a very personalized experience. So being able to serve the right ad at the right time, the right frequency, is a very complex process. And getting that right means a great user experience and good monetization for the publishers. And getting that wrong means that you're really interrupting the experience. And all those good things that we want to achieve through a broadcast-like experience, you put that in jeopardy. So it's not just having that experience, it's being able to insert the right ad at the right time, and then being able to track that all the way through. And that's what we can do through Project Primetime.
What's the roadmap? What might we see in the next 12 months with all these new products, and where do you hope Adobe goes in terms of its position in the media world? Yeah,
I alluded to that before, that we had acquired so many companies and spent a lot of money. I think right now it's finding those right integration points to really create a unified experience. If you think about what we announced this week, bringing all that Site Catalyst data into the AdLens platform really allows a huge degree of optimization opportunities by using all of that data to optimize, as well as really real-time reporting. That's one example of an integration. On prime time, Adobe has this great breadth of assets, things like Adobe Pass, which is an authentication device that allows you to consume content if you're already a subscriber. Bringing that together with the workflow of Auditude within the Adobe video ecosystem, that's another integration that we're working on right now. So it's going to be the year of really putting assets together in a way that benefits publishers and marketers alike.
When you meet with many media executives here in your travels around the world, what are their challenges, and what are you hearing from them, and sort of what needs to be done by the industry to move along this online video business to make it really viable, to really move the big dollars over?
Well, I think a couple things. I think one is just stepping back. We live in a very complex world. If you think about Facebook, didn't even exist 7 years ago, and now it's the largest display platform out there for advertising. So there's so much change happening in the industry, and any CMO I talk to has one request: make it easier, make it more simple. Create a platform where I can actually go and get one report and know how I'm doing. If you extend that over to the video side of things, everybody's very interested in creating a great experience for the consumer. And that experience extends beyond the quality of the video you consume, but also the quality of the experience, which is where the advertising part of that comes into it, being able to serve that right ad at the right time. So I think helping shift and accelerate that shift from broadcast to online in terms of the video experience, and then being able to monetize that most effectively is really the demand that we see on the video side.